What's good, my LiTTyENT? Welcome back to another lovely, beautiful, sexy, amazing video of the equally lovely, equally beautiful, equally sexy, and equally amazing LiTTyENT. I already know what time it is. Now let's go. Now guys, in today's video, I will be giving my review of D Block Europe's new album called Rolling Stone. And we're going to break it down in way more detail, but already know what you got to do. You just got to like, comment, subscribe, keep up to date, and drop a banger like this one. And hit that note, because you're in the need, so you can be the first to know when one of these videos comes out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, if you didn't already know, on Friday the 12th, D Block Europe dropped their latest studio album titled Rolling Stone. This is DBE's third studio album, with Lap 5 being the second, and The Blueprint Us vs Them being the third. And before you start jumping out your seats, I'm very much aware that they've dropped a slew of projects throughout the years, but we're strictly talking about albums here, so all that Home Alone and Any Minute Now, that's all mixtapes, so we're not talking about that. And I'm gonna be very honest with you guys, this might be one of the worst albums. In fact, this might be one of the worst projects that they've ever dropped, and I'll explain why.
What was the reason? I just explained the reason. What was the reason?
Now, I'm not someone who often likes to listen to DBE albums / projects from start to finish, because it seems like they've become quite accustomed to just making these 20+ song-filled projects that, to be honest, just have a bunch of filler tracks, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that PTSD mixtape had like 28 songs or something crazy like that. It had like nearly 30 songs. Yeah, there was a lot of filler on that album, a lot of skippable tracks, I'll be real. So when I saw that this album had only 15 songs, not only was I shocked, but I was kind of optimistic. I thought that maybe DBE had learned their lesson, and we were about to get a DBE album that's a bit more compact, a bit more succinct, and has a bit more of a story to tell. An album with no filler, just packed with straight bangers, and boy oh boy was I completely wrong. This album, it just feels like a bunch of throwaway songs, I'm not gonna lie. The album just sounds like DBE's management team called them after Christmas and was like, yo, you lot, you need to drop an album 2024, it needs to be ready to drop in the second week of January, and it's like they just made this album within a week. But then again, Drake and Future's What a Time to Be Alive was made in a week, so I can't even use that as an appropriate excuse for why this album sounds so bad, because What a Time to Be Alive is miles better than this. Now, I'm gonna break down my gripes with this project into multiple categories. First things first, we have to talk about the songs themselves. They just all sound the same. There's very few songs on here that offer any kind of variety or any kind of distinction. And before I get into that, actually, can I just say that the first two songs on this project are absolute trash.
I'm just saying.
That I need it now. BS, I'm not gonna lie, that shit's trash. Like, that is not the way that I expect a DBE album to begin. And I'll be real, Dirt Bike LB's mixing on that song was terrible. It sounded like he recorded his verse on one of those Heinz Beans cans with a string attached and the other can was in the studio. Like, sounded like he recorded his verse with his phone on airplane mode. Like, I don't know what was going on there.
I don't know.
And then that second song, Go Go Gang, like, I was just listening thinking, like, what am I listening to? Like, what is this? Like, they're just talking a bunch of nonsense. They're just saying a bunch of nothing on this song.
What? I don't understand.
And I thought, there's no way that they thought this was appropriate to kick off the project. Like, I'm a firm believer that the first song or the first two songs, you gotta come hard. And this ain't it, chief. If I compare these first two songs to Intro and Running Man from Home Alone, it's like night and day. Or compare this with Intro and Darling from PTSD, it's like, it's not looking good, bruv. Don't get me wrong, there were some decent tracks on the project, like the one with Young Bane. I really like that Still Outside song as well. That sounded pretty cold. The song with Kodak, absolute trash as well, I'm not gonna lie. Kodak sounded like he was ready to take off with his flow, but then when DBE came in, it sounded like they were on two different songs. Like, I don't know if I'm in my own world, but I listened to that song, I'm thinking like, there was no cohesion with Kodak's chorus and the stuff that DBE was saying. It was like Kodak got sent a different song and he sent the wrong verse to the wrong person. Like, it made no sense whatsoever. And then by the time you get to the end of the album and you're hearing songs like Gassed Up, like Esso, like what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean?
Just gotta say, I do not understand.
What does that even mean? Young ads, what are you talking about, bro? Is this a whole bunch of nothing, in my opinion? Which then leads me perfectly on to my second gripe with the album, and that's just that this album offers nothing new. I feel like it's very same. This D Block Europe album pretty much sounds like every other project that's come before it, you know? They're using the same flows, the same bars. I mean, they've literally been talking about eating pussy for 6 years straight.
I just like
I can't believe it. I'm surprised Young Adz doesn't have a full-grown beard at this point. And you guys know I'm a firm believer of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I've enjoyed a lot of their projects up until this point that have been using the same flows and talking about the same thing. But I felt like in previous projects, they've found ways to deviate a little bit. It still sounds the same, but you know, there's some like standout tracks, like songs like I Remember from Home Alone or Running Man, and like songs like Outside. I feel like these are examples of how they can deviate from their sound a little bit, but still keep that core DBE sonically type of music, if that makes sense. And of course, technically, this is like the 9th DBE project within 6 years. So I was really hoping that with this album, we would get a bit of experimentation, a bit of deviation from the typical DBE sound and the kind of, I don't want to say cookie cutter music, but sort of has become cookie cutter for them at this point. And again, it's been working. They've kept finding ways to make hard tunes, so I haven't complained about it in the past. But, and I have to make that abundantly clear, I have been a huge fan of DBE and a huge fan of this style, this trap style of music that they've been making. It has worked for them for a very long time. Every album they've dropped has had multiple bangers year after year. But I just think that this is the album where people will finally say that enough is enough, and it's time for them to either come harder, pause, meaning come with better songs, and maybe it's time for them to give the fans something new, or give the fans an album that pushes DBE out of their comfort zone, because this album sounds like as close to the DBE comfort zone as you could possibly get. Which then leads me on to my third gripe with this album, and that is that the album has no substance. Now, before you guys get mad, I'm very much aware that DBE are not the kind of artists that you should be going to for substance. I'm very much aware that one of Young Ad's most popular songs, in the chorus he says, lean, 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 the love of his life. I get it. I shouldn't be going to these guys for substance, but as I said, this is their 9th project in 6 years. So, and they specifically labeled this project as an album compared to a mixtape that they've done previously. So I'm expecting some kind of story or some kind of concept or something. And I think these two gentlemen have a huge story to tell. You know, despite all the odds, they're bigger in the UK than trap artists should ever be in the UK. They've sold out the O2 Arena 7 times. They've stayed consistent for the past 6 years, but you barely hear any of that sort of stuff seep into their lyrical content. You know, all the bars I hear about is the same girls we've been hearing about for 6 years, going to the Shard, going to Harrods, going to the Shangri-La, Parchinwa, whatever that, I don't know, man. That's rich people talk, but it's the same lean drinking, same smoking, same vagina eating that we've become accustomed to for the past 6 years. Which, as I said, it's been cool thus far. They found ways to make it interesting and still sound good, but they just haven't done it as much on this project. So now I have to wonder, where's the substance? Where's the DBE story? Why don't we have a DBE concept album?
You're taking the piss. Please leave.
I have no idea what story DBE wanted us to get from listening to this. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel upon leaving this album. I'm not gonna lie, I just about managed to get through it in the first place.
I'm sorry. Now,
of course, it's not all doom and gloom. The production was done well, as it usually is on DBE albums and things of that nature. But of course, there are other critiques that I could make. And honestly, if I do, we'll be here all day. But I do want to say that I don't like critiquing DBE. I was very much hoping to come on this video and be singing this album's praises. I was anticipating this as one of the big drops of 2024 for UK music. But I just have to call it like I see it. And this album is just not good enough from a quality standpoint. And not good enough considering the DBE standard that we've all come to know and love over the years. I'm holding DBE to a much higher standard than I'm holding other artists, because they've shown and proved that they can make solid projects that contain bangers year after year after year. So I don't see why they haven't done it on this project. Are they running out of steam? Are they getting lazy? Was this just a throwaway project? I'm thinking, if it's a throwaway, why did you call it an album? And why did you put 402 dates next to this project? Like, it's not making sense. But yeah, DBE, you gotta do better than this, man. I feel like you should drop another project this year to make up for this one, because it's not looking good, Chief. But yeah, in the words of Heady One,
it's a bit of a sticky one still.
But let me know if you think about this in the comment section down below. Do you agree with my opinion on this DBE album, or do you think I'm talking absolute was? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. On the road to 2,000 subs. You already know what time it is. You can follow my personal IG at theomalittyent. If you care about what I do, we're not making these bangers for you. I post updates on Twitter as well, so you might as well follow me on there, because what else do you do with your life? Absolutely nothing, mate. I bet. Peace.
Well, you ain't know I could sing.